welcomed our open arms to you today and welcoming you here to the home as we celebrate the groundbreaking of not one but two projects on the Lisner campus. Of course, the wonderful project at the corner there, the low-income housing tax credit project that's that we're just started undertaking, as well as directly behind you is what we call the 1940s building, and we are undertaking a full and complete renovation of that beautiful structure that was damaged severely a few years ago. So our plan is to utilize the Lisner campus to its fullest extent by building and enhancing the legacy of providing seniors in the District of Columbia with dignified, safe, clean, affordable housing and health care services as they enter into their golden years. Now, obviously, there are tons of people that we need to thank, and we will get to some of that later. But I want to obviously thank the mayor, the city council, and the district agencies for all of the support that they've given us as we've embarked on these two very significant projects. I want to thank the past and present board members. My board members have been with us for some of them for many years. Some, I think they started when they were about 15 years old, or at least they say that. It's all about love and creating an environment here that's healthy for our DC seniors. The community, the neighboring community, wow, what could be said about the community? I think there's many people who said that there would never be a low-income housing tax credit project in Ward 3. Now, the mayor and I, we're from Ward 4, and we have several of those projects over there in our ward, and it's great. But this community stood up and stood for the Lisner home. They supported the project. They provided some much needed assistance and guidance and thoughts that we incorporated into our planning. So the neighborhood, the community has backed this project from the very beginning. So I just also want to thank them. Of course, our administrators and staff, and I can't forget about our affiliate boards, the Louise, Dixon, Hurt, and Schumacher homes have been major supportive of the Lisner home. They've continued on their mission of supporting our projects and our services that we're providing here to the city. So, folks, you're going to have I ordered up a great day. Again, there are a lot of people want to thank my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. We've been big supporters of the home here, and the Cafords Foundation and Amazon and many of the other donors. But I want to now introduce two of the most important people in all of this, other than the mayor, which is our two primary administrators, Ward Orem and Sue Hargraves. Come on up here. Now, Sue started when she was 5.
Oh, please, cut us a break.
Hey.
Good morning. This is kind of like salt and pepper, peanut butter and jelly. We go hand in hand. So when you see one, you see the other. So glad to have you all here, and welcome to the Lisner Louise Dixon Hurt home. I am, in fact, Ward Orem, CEO of the home, and it has been my honor to serve the home, the residents, and their families for over 45 years. Yes, indeed, I was 12 when I got here. When stepping in the front door in 1978, I somehow felt like it was the beginning of a journey. Where that journey may land, I was really not sure, but I knew something good was going to come out of this. And here we are today, embarking on a low-income senior housing unit in Ward 3. How remarkable is that? And at the same time, redoing a 1940s structure that is screaming for assistance so that in turn it can assist low-income elders in an assisted living capacity. Nothing could be more remarkable, and it speaks to the vision of our founders, and it certainly speaks to the hard work of our board of directors. Thank you all so much for supporting us, and with that, I'll turn it over to my sister from another mother, Sue Hargraves.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Sue Hargraves, and I'm the administrator of the home and have had the privilege of working here for 33 years. Today is so symbolic of the mission of the home, which is to continue to serve low-income seniors, enabling them to live their lives to the fullest. To think that over 80 years ago, the home started as a retirement home for indigent women of D.C. and has continually grown and changed to meet the needs of our community's most vulnerable citizens. Our new dawn will be to meet the needs of low-income seniors with a 93 independent apartment building, 45 newly renovated, beautiful assisted living accommodations, and of course, our 60-bed nursing facility providing long-term care and short-term rehabilitation, a continuum of care right here on our campus. This is truly an exciting day filled with hope for a bright tomorrow.
As Sue pointed out, this is just a remarkable beginning to a continuing care retirement community for low-income elders, not those that are wealthy, but those that can't really afford much else in terms of long-term care and senior housing. None of this would be possible without a shout-out to those who have been so helpful in making today possible. Thanks, of course, go out to the mayor, the mayor's team, and certainly Councilmember Fruman. Yeah, we have your unwavering support. We have you to thank for this. As well, our neighbors, our ANC3E, ANC34G, and Commissioners Quinn and Goslin, who have been with us during the planning of this campus expansion. To the Lisner Board, you have been with us hand in hand as we strive to meet the mission and vision of our founders. A special shout out to Christella and Christine Hobbs, who have been so engaged in the LIHTC project. Likewise, as Robert noted, our affiliated boards have embraced our efforts to create this community, and without their support, none of this would have been possible. We thank you all affiliates, for your support of the Capital Campaign. And I want to provide a heartfelt thanks to Amazon's Housing Equity Fund for their generous support of the home's renovation, as well as the Morris and Gwendolyn Cafritz Foundation for their significant support to our Capital Campaign. It is through community engagement such as this that the home will be able to actualize this remarkable vision.
First and foremost, I would like to thank our residents and families who have put their trust in us. None of this would have been possible without the generosity and foresight of our founders, Abraham and Laura Lisner. To our fellow co-workers, we are forever grateful for your commitment to actualizing the mission of service. You are truly champions. Without question, Michael Winsek and Carl Skoglund and the team of Winsek and Associates architectural firm have helped to create a campus plan that empowers us to actualize our vision. That vision for the 1940s renovation project will be transformed physically by Harkins Builders and our owner's representative, John Anagonio. Our legal teams of Jackson and Campbell, John Matteo, and David Ronis, as well as Eric Herman of Klein Honig, have been instrumental in dotting every I and crossing every T. Emily Eig and Alyssa Stein of Traceries provided us an in-depth understanding of the historical impact that the home and our affiliates have had in the history of elder care in our city. Vicki Davis and Chris Vernick and the entire team at Urban Atlantic, we thank you, and we look forward to a rewarding partnership. J-Dot, that would be Chapman Todd. What can we say? You have been with us from the beginning, and we know you will be here when the scissors cut the ribbon. You are truly a member of the Lisner family. And last but not least, I must thank my mentor, my brother from another mother, Ward Orem. Thank you for your leadership and dedication to the home. To all of you, we are forever grateful. And now it is my honor to introduce to you Althea Degree, the daughter of one of our beloved long-term residents.
Okay.
All right, you can do it.
I promised I am not going to cry. All right? But we'll see about that. Very good. I just want to let you all know, if you open your program, my mom, Margaret Lewis, is featured in the back painting, and I have the wonderful opportunity to share a little bit about our story. 23 years ago, my mother had just experienced triple bypass surgery, and we were very concerned about her long-term well-being. A social worker suggested that we come to the Lisner home and check the place out. Of course, then at the time, I was a little bit bigger because my daughter, who's sitting back there, was in my tummy. And my mom came, and she just was in awe how nice and clean the place was and everything. And so at the end of the time, she had two questions for the person. Number one, why is it that she didn't know about this place? Because for years, she used to come out here and clean homes to earn a little extra money. And number two, she wanted to know who were the fantastic people that kept the place so nice. 30 days later, my mother had moved in. I was a little bit bigger, but I was still extremely concerned about my mother's well-being. So I had made a commitment that every day I was going to call and check on my mama. And when I did, I found out Miss Lewis is playing bingo. Miss Lewis is getting her hair and nails done. Miss Lewis is in the painting room with the other residents. And did you know that she was an accomplished painter? I said, what? Well, needless to say, all of my mom's paintings are lining the halls of my home. What can I say? Fast forward, the Lisner home called us and said that, Althea, you all are welcome to come to the events that we have here. We'll let the good times roll. And they sure did. Right behind you there, every 4th of July, there was a fantastic barbecue cookout. Christmas time, we came and my children sang carols with the other children, and the Santa Claus went around and gave every resident a special gift. But I want to leave you with one memory that was super duper special for me. Back in 1985, I graduated from Howard University with my MBA, and I held my reception right there in that room because my mother couldn't make the graduation, but she made the reception with her Howard University's sweatshirt on. Yes, she did. And when all of the college professors came in and the students came in, my peers and extended family, they began to whisper. Althea told us that this was an assisted living place. Althea told us that this was a skilled nursing facility. What's going on here? I don't believe it. And I said, you know what? You're not supposed to believe it. This is my mother's home, and these people are her extended family. That's what this is all about. So yes, we are breaking ground for new residents, but more so, we are getting ready to welcome 40 plus new members to the Lisner home family. Thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to share. And I did it. I didn't cry. Okay. Well, now I have another phenomenal opportunity, and it's really a little bit historical, and I'll tell you why. I'll date myself again. In 1985, I graduated from Dunbar High School, and I was at the Constitution Hall. I was on stage, and my mom was in the audience, just like today. And I had the phenomenal opportunity to introduce the mayor, Mayor Barry, right? He was the mayor at the time. Well, today, I have the prestigious honor to introduce a fellow DC native, an American University Eagle, just like me, former Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner, Ward 4 Council member, and in her current position, the first African American woman to ever be elected 3 4-year terms as mayor of American City. There's more. There is more. She is committed to the district seniors, committed to affordable housing across the district, and longtime friend of Lisner Home. Please welcome DC's Mayor Bowser.
Well, give Althea a big round of applause. Wow. What a great story and remembrance. And what a beautiful day. It seems that maybe only Sue and I know my personal connection to this home. And we love it. And maybe I will be the one who cries. But this is where my grandmother spent her last years. And we had the experience that you had. My mother found this place, loved this place, and trusted all of the people here. When my grandmother entered in assisted living and moved on to nursing care and then moved on to glory. And then we felt very, very proud that my grandmother could live in the city where she was born and loved so much. So now you know why we stay focused on housing, and housing for people of all incomes in every stage of their lives. And you will also, my grandmother would be proud that we've kept our promises about housing. When I became mayor, I insisted that the city would spend, and I promised, at least $100 million every year on our Housing Production Trust Fund, where we would be partners with the development community to be sure that we built affordable housing in all 8 wards. And several years ago, I made a plan. I told the team we won't meet our goals, we don't set a goal. And that goal was to build 36,000 new units by 2025, but again, in all 8 wards. The tendency had been that only 1 ward should have all of the affordable units. And we looked at all available land and projects. We looked at land that was being underutilized, or in another way to put it, we could maximize space and build more units. And we set a housing goal per planning area, not just per ward, but per planning area. So today, because of intention and because of commitment from not just my administration, but the council and community leaders, we have not only been able to live up to the promise of $100 million per year. You know, I've been mayor 9 years. That would be $900 million. But we've done like $1.5 billion out of the Housing Production Trust Fund. And I want to thank and recognize Councilmember Fruman, who's the new kid on the block. And it's always good when the new kid on the block shows up and has done the work already, who has been committed to affordable housing, who has had to stand in front of tough community meetings and still make the recommendations. So I know, Matt, you're very proud, and we're going to hear from you in a second. I want to thank Councilmember Anita Bonds, who chaired the Housing Committee for a number of years during my tenure. And then I always like to recognize this fact, that when I sent hundreds of millions of dollars in funding for the Housing Production Trust Fund, Anita was able to protect those dollars. And because she was able to not have all the council members dip into it for, good causes, we've been able to do big things in housing. I also want to recognize Chris Donald, who represents the Housing Finance Agency, who's integral in kind of what I call the gap funding or the last mile funding or whatever you call it. We need it to get affordable housing projects across the line. And Colleen Green, who is our new director of the Department of Housing and Community Development. I saw Brian Hanlon walk in, who is the director of the Department of Buildings as well. So that is what we're here to celebrate. Looking at, as you already heard from the esteemed and very proud board chair, what this project will allow. It will allow us to maximize space in an area that hasn't used thus far any housing production trust fund dollars. And so another way to say that is that this is the first HPTF project in Ward 3. So 93 units of senior affordable housing on Western Avenue in partnership with the Lisner Home and Urban Atlantic. And part of what makes this a truly historic project, as I said, is it is the first one, but not the last, in the Rock Creek West planning area. The goal we set for this planning area was 1,990 affordable units by 2025, and we've almost reached 1,000 units, but there's more for us to do. This project also maximizes other city funding from our Green Bank. And I want to thank and recognize the Green Bank board members and Tricia Miller, the new executive director, because we are always focused on how being more green also helps us save in the long term on these projects. So the work of our teams is coming together. The residents who are here, I'm thrilled to know, will also see the benefits of this project. We'll welcome new residents, but more than that, we can establish a model. We can establish a model for other communities because our senior residents, and I like to say this, have lived and supported DC in the best of times and the not so great times. And in their senior years, they deserve, and I demand, that they have the best of times. So thank you for your support. I look forward to being here for the ribbon cutting. And I now have the privilege of welcoming your council member for Ward 3, Matt Fruman.
Good morning. I think it's so wonderful to be the new kid on the block with all this gray hair. So it's not my religious tradition, but today puts me in the mind of, there's the psalm that says, "This is the day the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." And if there was ever a day like that, it's today. The magic of this place and the testimonials that you hear is very real. And the idea that we're going to expand that, make it available to 93 units of independent living, a fully remade 1940s building, this is a magical, magical day that we should all celebrate. And I'm going to go back through some of the same list because people need to be thanked. I'll start with my predecessor as board chair and then my successor as board chair here, Chris Tao and Robert Cooper, if we can give them a round of applause. I came across the Lisner home when I was an ANC commissioner, and they would come to the ANC and ask for funding for Zoo Day. And then when I left the ANC, Ward reached out, and Zoo Day is a lot of fun. When Zoo Day comes back, be there. And Ward, when I left the ANC, Ward invited me and asked me to consider coming on to the board, and the magic of this place sunk its hook in me. And the magic of this place, as Althea, you know well, and Mayor Bowser, you know well, is exemplified in the work that Ward and Sue have done over the decades. But I hold up Ward and Sue as them and the work that they've done, but also as representatives of the staff of the Lisner home. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal place. Can we give them a round of applause? I do also, as Robert did, I want to lift up the neighbors, because when we got started on this project, People said you'll never be able to do that. You'll always get a fight from the neighborhood. And we worked with them, and Vicki Davis, who I will introduce in a second, helped us in working with them. We listened to them, and we adjusted our plans, and we came forward with a plan that had the full support of the neighborhood. How often does that happen here in Ward 3? Full support of the neighborhood, neighbors testifying in front of the Historic Preservation Review Board and the Zoning Commission in support of a low-income housing tax credit project here in Ward 3. We really need to be grateful to our neighbors. This is a tricky site, and it's, coming up with how are you going to do all the different kinds of things that you need to do on this site is not an easy task. And we reached out to Michael Winsek at Robert Cooper's suggestion a number of years ago. And Michael, thank you so much for guiding us through this process so we could get to this result. It's a great day. Thank you, Michael. And then there's a force of nature, and that is Vicki Davis at Urban Atlantic. And we had to get from idea to groundbreaking and eventually to ribbon cutting. And Vicki, thank you so much for everything you've done along the way. And I'll turn it over to you. Thank you to Vicki Davis.
Maybe this has to go up a little. Good morning. I'm the one who's close to tears. I too have a close friend who was cared for until his passing at Lisner Home. This is a pretty phenomenal development because what really happened was a tragedy. A water line burst and it put an entire building out of commission. And the people who were there took great responsibility and care of their people whom they serve with all their heart. And they were able to turn a very adverse event into something even bigger than what it was originally. And it takes guts, it takes perseverance, it takes vision, it takes unbelievable amounts of expertise to do that. Sue and Ward are some of the best nonprofit partners any developer in the world could have. Truly. Sue and Ward have told me what to do for quite a long time. And I'm used to it, and I welcome it. It's actually easier for a developer to be told what people want and what they don't want to make things happen. When we reached out to our neighborhood here, and this neighborhood, is a very wealthy neighborhood, frankly. And one of the most powerful, full of lawyers, wealthiest neighborhoods in the entire DC area. And if they had wanted to stop this project, they could have, like that, and everybody knew it. But you know what? The good work of decades, and the strength of a board, and the strength of mission, and great, great, great working relationships with neighbors where their children come to volunteer here, made a huge difference. When we did our first presentation, we said, we did all of this, we tried to fit into the neighborhood, we did it like this, we did it like that, and they said, your building is ugly, and we don't like it. And we said, okay, here's the paper, what would you like to see? And they said, well, turn it backwards and upside down, and then we'll like it. And so we did. And that credit goes to Michael Winsek. Michael Winsek has the biggest, I can't even see where he is, but in the back, of course. But he has the biggest heart, the most kindness of any person you'll ever meet. And together with that, he has true genius, true ability to see things that don't exist, to imagine how people live. And it's really made this a reality. My company has the great honor and pleasure to work with people of the very first caliber, Chris Vernick has been steadfast through this entire development. His boss, Caroline Kenny, has supported him. My partners, Lois Freed and Scott Nordheimer and Callie Brooks and her finance team, have put together what I refer to as stone soup. And stone soup is everybody coming together. There are 10 funding sources here. This is not your vanilla debt and equity, thank you. No, this is something very special. This is DCHA, the DC Housing Authority, a fantastic partner, represented by Dorian Jenkins. DHCD, Erin Wilson, hard-working lady, oh my God. She really helped us pull this together and get to the finish line. Chris Donald with the DC HFA. BFIM with Steve Napolitano, Capital One with Ed Delaney, Rise Impact with Robert Lay, the DC Green Bank, who helped us bridge things, NHT, who, by the way, helped us get started here, because without you, we couldn't even have gotten started, so thank you, Priya. Saul Ewing, who is our attorney, who helped pull together this stone soup, CRBT, and Equity Plus. And I gotta say, these people all were able to work in harmony, pull this together, and make this happen. And not to be forgotten, Amazon, right? Because they're gonna be helping us with services. We have amazing architects at WINSEC. We have amazing engineers at Wells Mensch. We have an amazing contractor at Bizzuto. I am blessed to have an amazing, amazing corporate family. And I will tell you this. This is a replicable model. I've been to cities and they said, we're so excited. We've put aside $10 million in a housing trust fund. And I say, no, actually, think about Mayor Bowser and DC, right? $1.5 billion compared to 10 million for a similar sized city, that's a pretty unbelievable thing. This city leads the nation. You lead the nation. But even more than that, you lead it with a plan. Because without a plan and without those goals, none of this would happen. And that is, my friends, that is worthy of a standing ovation. It's a huge change maker for our city, but most importantly, for the people we serve. And I cannot tell you how excited, well, there goes all the paperwork. How excited I am to have had the honor to sit next to you and hear about your mom and hear about your grandmother. Because ultimately, this is about the people whom we serve, and it's built on a foundation of service from Sue and Ward and their team who have led this for decades. And so it's my great honor to welcome back for the closeout Sue and Ward. Oh, did I mess it up?
No, you didn't mess it up. Vicki, not at all. You didn't mess it up. I messed it up just a drop, and my Christian from my team said, "Do you want talking points?" And I said, "No, I'm good." But I left out the most important thank you, and that is to Mayor Bowser. Can we have a round of applause? Mayor Bowser, not just because of your administration's support for this project, but the Lisner home, like all assisted living nursing facilities around the country, had an incredibly difficult challenge during COVID. And right at the beginning of that terrible chapter, we reached out to the administration, and the director of the Department of Health and a representative from CDC came immediately to try to help us. You and your administration have helped us at every step along the way to get through the hard times and to get to these good times. Thank you very much for everything you do.
At this time, we'd like to ask that people remain seated, and we will do the actual breaking of the ground. Tom, if you'd like to come forward and help us coordinate that, please.
And afterwards, we would like to break a little bread with you in our lobby. So thank you all so much, and let's get some pictures.
1, 2, 3. Great. officer.